Hello there, this is Through Spades, and today I got an update for Rogue Planet 2. This is another devlog, and what I've done here is, this is going to be the last time you probably see the mall for a while at least, but this here is the regular Team Deathmatch mall. I have done a final bit of lighting and polishing on it, and it's basically done now. There was one thing I wanted to take care of, and that was sort of it looking a bit kind of flat and gray, so I did want to keep the gray look. Well, it actually looked a bit more yellow, but I did want to make it gray, and then make the zombie map look yellow. So that way the two maps were more separated from each other visually. And I was also able to kind of adjust the lighting by adding some filmic effects to it. In this one, as I'll demonstrate, you'll be able to kind of see what I've done. So the normal team deathmatch, as opposed to the zombie invasion mode, just has you shooting each other, as opposed to, shooting each other and zombies invade and kill everybody. And let me just... there we go, good. We're in. So, much more dramatic looking. The lighting looks a lot rougher too, which thankfully does make everything look a lot more worn and dirty. I think especially like right here and stuff is really good. There's the AI again. There we go. Excellent. Jackass Frost is after me. So, I'm gonna head around. As we can kind of see, the lighting looks a lot better. Looks a lot more balanced with the contrast, especially, I think. Ah, shit, ran right into him. And I'm going to show you some of the upper levels as well, real quick. Preferably if I don't get ass blasted by Jack Frost. There we go. It is good that the bots are actually able to do that throughout, because that means they're working. So up here, as you can kind of tell, the lighting and the contrast and the shading especially doesn't look quite as blurred and flat like it did. Like the iron sight in the dot there is properly separated from the fog, unlike what was happening before, where it all kind of blended together into a slight haze, which was not intentional. So here, the clarity is a little better as a result of messing with that a bit. So I'm going to show you the zombie deathmatch one, and the fog was also increased in intensity too. Should have mentioned that, but anyway, on both. You'll see that the fog is about the same. In the other map, it originally didn't have as intense fog because I couldn't get it to look right. It was slightly tinted blue, and that's kind of just a default that Unreal Engine tends to do, so I made the whole thing look proper, like gray and foggy. So if this one will work, I'll show you the zombie deathmatch. Good, we're in. And let me just... there we go. As you can see, there's kind of a more brown tint of the edge of the screen, especially, and kind of an almost infected tunnel vision look to things, which is the intention. And when the zombies start running through here, they go attack everybody, as you've seen. Self-included, I imagine, if he turns around. Probably not, but... I figured this would help kind of separate characters from the background, so you couldn't just blend in too well and camp somewhere. Like, characters like the zombies and such especially have a particular silhouette about them, so it's a lot easier to see them as opposed to just having to play, you know, aim for the HUD as opposed to aiming for the guy right here who teleports in front of my face and kicks my ass. That should be helpful, kind of improving the clarity and the separation between the fog without going too over the top and adding like neon lights and making everyone look like some kind of Tron or something, you know, character. I don't want to turn everybody into a glow stick naturally, but you know, the zombies do glow a bit just where the eyes are because their souls are you know, taken by the devil, so to speak. So here we are. We're gonna go to the new map. This here is the new Santa Fe map. Now, what I did with this one is there was another map that was included in a test called Salvage, and what I'm doing with it is I am taking that map and quickly whipping it together here something, just so you have another cool map to play. Because the template kit that I got here on Unreal Engine did have quite a lot of cool maps, and, well, actually like 2 or 3, and this was one of them. So I figured instead of just, you know, letting that go to waste, I would at least try to use it in some capacity, but not just copy-paste it. So what I ended up with was making a map that was based upon the worst ending of Rogue Planet 1, where, if you've played it, you'll know that should you decide to kill everybody, you get the canonical worst ending, where you murder everyone and leave the world to die. So this roughly takes place during that, where there's blood rivers and cities are destroyed as a result of your actions. Now this one does need a bit of work as to separating characters from the background, and it's something I'll get to, but as you can see, there's lightning and thunder and death and ashes in the skies. Bunch of destroyed buildings out of the map, and I figured the end of the world would look, you know, a few different ways to different people, so you can assume that this is, well, if not outright confirmation that Marcus was not in fact dreaming in the first game, and what he saw was quite real, because all of these soldiers here are seeing it too, because they're having to fight in it. Marcus dug them this grave, and by God, they're gonna fucking lay in it. Kill every last motherfucker they can. At least before they die. The only objective? Well, the only one they always had. Kill everybody. Doesn't matter if you win or lose in that point. It's not like you're going home anyway. This is home. So this here is Santa Fe. Team Deathmatch Santa Fe. And I'll probably also add the mall and the other maps to the zombies as well. And once I get that done, and the next map that I show you, I may be able to release a playable sort of build of the game. It will be fairly early. It'll be probably a playable pre-alpha, demonstrating the multiplayer and a few other things. But as for the campaign and the other modes, one thing I am planning upon is remaking and adding to the first game's campaign, since that campaign's already basically done. I guess what I really could do, by comparison to just making a whole new campaign, is take the stuff that was done in Game Guru, put it on a better engine, add co-op, and then add like 10 more levels at the beginning and end of it, and maybe some side missions and other things that were originally cut from those levels due to the technical limits of Game Guru. Because what I had at one point intended to do with Game Guru is make it into a sort of Rogue Planet on Game Guru was make it into a sort of semi-open world. But that got scaled back into a linear game, and I found that I was pretty good at making linear games. if not just like 1 or 2 open areas like this, which, you know, your typical Call of Duty. But I grew dissatisfied with a lot of linear games near the end of the Xbox 360 simply because of the endings usually not being very satisfying and just the lack of replay value. And I found that the best way to actually give me a good reason to play a linear game over and over again was multiple choice endings like Black Ops 2 did, where they had a bunch of different endings and different variants of endings, and that made it interesting because you'd always play the same game, yes, but you'd get like different branching paths and a choose your own adventure sort of story, and I really enjoyed that, because even though you would end up at the end of the game, roughly speaking, the end of the game would change, and it was pretty good, especially with Black Ops 2. I felt like characters were a little more exaggerated by comparison, and so were like the designs of guns and stuff, but I didn't have a problem with that because there was at least a modicum of self-awareness, and they knew what they were kind of doing was a little bit silly, so they just rolled with it, and so did I, because, you know, if it looks silly, it looks almost like a weird Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network, you know, show you'd see at Nick at Night or something, then fuck it. You know, you might as well just roll with what you're doing and own it, and they did, so good on them. So you can see out there in the skybox, though, my love of creating giant-ass skyboxes with big destroyed buildings and shit has definitely carried over from Game Guru, and as we can see, massive fucking skyboxes. I'm sure the people who play Halo would love this, too. See, this is how you make a world feel big, and I wish more Unreal Engine developers would use this technique of just... It's not that hard. All you do is you take a low-poly model, scale it way, way the fuck up, and then put a shit round, you know, all around your map, and there you go. Now it looks a lot bigger. Really sells the illusion of what you're making, and that's what I liked about the Xbox 360. It was very fantastical. I mean, hell, even some of the Japanese games were pretty good then, too. Games like Vanquish and Metal Gear Solid 5, I think, are ones that stand out to me. Mostly because they did crazy things with the trends of the time, but I'm getting off topic. Basically, here's the new map of Santa Fe there. I'm going to add some more shit, probably... like, say, over here, through this path, because right now, as it is, it's a bit empty. There's not really much here. So what I figured is, like I kind of had in the old Test 3, which that build has been corrupted, so I can't recover it or use it, so I don't know what the hell happened. I guess a hard drive part of the partition just didn't want to work that day, so all the files got corrupted, and I couldn't recover them, so I'll have to remake it, but otherwise I can remake it pretty easily. And what I'll do is I'll make it so you can blow up these buildings, and probably add a few vehicles around, some shit that can't be destroyed, like armored tanks or trucks or some kind of environmental debris. Like, what I like here is that there's this busted up UAV in the middle of the map. It's been here a while. It looks sandy and broken. And I figured I could probably put some more vehicles around the map. Probably do like crashed helicopters, dead bodies, people who are, you know, dead on the ground. They got guns. Kind of add a bit of environmental storytelling to the multiplayer maps, as well as connecting it to the prior game in the series directly, and also this one in its campaign. I don't really know if I'll do a full remaster. There might be some shit that's changed, but we'll see. So there's that, and I've gotten started working here. Bit of early work here on the construction yard. Now I don't really know if it's going to be playable just yet. Now I probably shouldn't have done that, but nope. Yep, I'm going to wait for it to build the Why the hell is the navigation mesh so big? It should not be that big. I can change that. Yeah, jeez Louise. It's a big-ass navigation mesh. There we go. Let's try that. Sorry about this. I figured that was done, but apparently not, so I'll have to work on it some more. Anyway. This here is an early block out of a big construction yard map that I'm going to be working on. And it's pretty big if you can't tell. Like, this is how big a player is, and this is how big the map is. This is going to be like your big team battle, or your kind of battlefield-ish type of mode. This is for objectives and for sniping. So, if you like objective-based modes and modes where you snipe, and you'll probably like this. Although, I don't really like why it's doing that, because I don't know why it's giving me 2 frames a second and showing weird debug visuals, because I don't think it's supposed to do that. Unless there's a horrible, horrible error with my video game that needs to be fixed, so I'll probably have to figure out what the hell's gone wrong with that next devlog. But another thing I am doing some work on is, as you've seen, these guys here, the bots. So let me just go to the AI ally. What I'm going to show you is, kind of as a default right now, they're just red and blue, which is just the default camo that I've decided upon. But what I'm planning on doing is giving them like different camos as well. And the way that this template seems to do its materials is a little screwy. But the way I was able to actually give the default mesh its own camouflage was I made a proper material and a texture for said material and whatever, and then colored it blue, and then added some dirt and kind of made him look a little shiny so you could see him in the dark better. Kind of, you know, the old Gears of War trick, if you will, or the old Halo trick before they added all the neon lights in some of the later games and made them look more exaggerated. But he is going to look a little different in some of the other maps, and so is the enemy teams. My plan is to give them, instead of like customization, what I want to do is proper factions, kind of like how Black Ops 2 was doing. So depending upon the maps that they're in, they'll have different camouflages instead of just one camo or something that they have on all the different maps. Like, let's say they're in this map, which is supposed to be kind of like a construction yard. Well, I imagine they would be wearing some kind of gray, maybe urban camo. And the other team over here would be wearing like some kind of multicam, maybe orange or something. Kind of orange-ish anyway. And that would help sort of differentiate the two visually from each other, but also kind of tie into the theme of each map and their environment. So that way there's some sense of uniformity between both factions, and it doesn't devolve into weird Hot Wheels nonsense where every character looks like a clown or something. You know, they could look like a clown or a glow stick or a fucking piranha plant or some character from a slasher movie. I mean, I'll do slightly cartoony camos, but they still need to be... If it's an army game like this, they need to be themed upon actual camouflage or otherwise a logic behind them that makes sense other than just looking cool. They can certainly look a bit fantastical the way I see it, but I feel as if, you know, if you're going to do like bright colors, then you'd want to make not just the bright colors bright, but you want to make them look dirty or worn a little bit. So that's why I make them look kind of shiny and dirty as well. Like, you know, maybe them fuckers are swimming or they're sweating or something. I don't know. But, yeah, there's that. Wanted to show you those real quick. So some work is being done on other maps. Take care. And I do need to figure out what's going on with this one. So, anyway, goodbye.